What's up? So, here I am, my glitter shorts and all. Today I kind of wanted to talk about just like times in my life when I've like been depressed, because I honestly just want to share my story and hopefully it can help someone. Trying to be vulnerable and open, but kind of not really having a real direction. I just feel like we live in a world where everything's so perfect online, and behind closed doors it could really like not be perfect. And there's a lot of times where I'm just like alone and I'm just like crying, or like I can't get out of bed, and you know, that's just my truth. Like, I am not always in a good place, and I can go to work and put on a smile, and I can, you know, just go out and have fun or post stuff online, but it's not always reality. One of like the first times I started feeling depressed was in middle school, and that was tough. I was bullied, and a lot of the times that I've been bullied in my life, it has always like been people who were my friends first, and I think that that was just the hardest thing for me to deal with, because it was people who I trusted and I loved, and they turned their back on me, and then they were like literally just bullying me and being so mean. It actually is something that I feel like I let define me for a very long time in my life, and I'm really trying to let go of it. Then I had a really awful high school experience. I was wrapped up in the wrong crowd, and I had a friend who ended up committing suicide, and I don't think I ever really went back from that like time in my life. It was so tough. I watched someone who I loved just not exist anymore on this earth. You know, it was just an experience for me that just took a toll on my life, and I don't think I have ever really been the same since then. It made me a better person, but it also took a long time for me to get there. So once I ended up graduating high school, I tried to make my own path because I wanted to model, and I only wanted to model. I didn't want to go to college or think of anything other than that. So my parents were like, well, you still gotta make money. So they got me my licensed bartend. So I did that from like 18 till I was about like 21. And it wasn't a good thing for me because I developed a really bad habit of just drinking and partying, and I'm sure it's a lot of things that people do in college, but I wasn't in college. I was around just a lot of like older people and adults, and I just kind of put myself into bad situations. I was really young and naive. And I'm not really sure if I was necessarily depressed at that moment, but I was not in a good place in my life. Fast forward to when I decided to go to hair school. It was definitely one of the best decisions that I made for my life, but here's me being really vulnerable. But I was still living that bad lifestyle while I was in hair school, and it ended up taking a toll on me. So I was out one night and I was drinking with my friends, and every time I would go out I would drink, and I would never have a plan of how I was going to get home, and I drank way too much, and I was in a situation where I was just around a lot of people who were making me feel really uncomfortable, and I ended up blacking out. I'm not sure if I was drugged, but I ended up wrecking my car on the highway, and I could have killed myself and other people, and I ended up getting in trouble for that, and it ended up kind of being a moment of me to be like, wake up. So whether I was depressed and recognizing it around that time or not, it was just not obviously where I was supposed to be in my life, and it was a huge lesson for me to learn. But with that came a lot of emotions. It kind of took away my clutch of alcohol, and it took away my sense of independence and my pride and everything that I kind of like built up, things that I guess I was trying to fight depression with. And it brought me really far back down, and I just was in a horrible place. So I ended up graduating cosmetology school, and I got a job, and I started, trying to make money again and just kind of get back on my feet. And then I ended up moving to New York, and this is where I am now. But it's not all like glitz and glam and like what it's, cracked up to be. It's so expensive. It's really hard to make a path for yourself. I don't really know how it started again, but I just kind of started seeping back into a depressive state. Depression is just like not a joke. Like, it's just so tough. You can't control it. It just like seeps into your life. So I've always tried to live my life by work-life balance, but the balance part kind of hasn't been there lately. And I have set myself up because I want to be a freelancer. That's what I want to do. It's what I feel is the right path for me. But it's also hard for me because that comes with a lot of free time. So there's just times where I just have way too many days off in a row, and there's times where I'm working way too much, and I kind of just like don't have a very good balance. So with that, it's kind of created like an odd pattern in my life, and I started just to become more and more depressed. I know that I'm like not the only one struggling with depression. I know that it's such a thing that our society is dealing with. I mean, we wake up every day and we scroll on this little device that just makes us compare ourselves to other people. It makes us feel like we're not doing good enough. It makes us feel just like not connected enough. It's like we're connecting with people but not enough. And I'm not sure if I'm like the only one feeling like this, but it just seems like I'm starting to lose touch with humanity and like lose touch with like what it's like to have, friends in like the real world, and like going out and doing things, and to not just do it for an Instagram picture or do it just for, the content, but to like really, really do something, for yourself that other people aren't necessarily seeing and watching you do. A couple things that have like helped me just find my center, I guess, and just kind of like help me get into better habits, has been, first off, I started seeing a counselor. She told me to get this book called Codependent No More, and I've been reading that one. So that kind of just helps you to realize like everything in your life is like a decision, and the only person that can make decisions for you is yourself. And you have to learn how to love yourself, and I think that that's the journey that I'm personally on right now, because I don't think I've ever really understood what it means to love yourself, to just take those moments and appreciate the ones that you get alone, and to just really like love who you are. So with that, I have started reading, which I'm not a reader, but I know it's important to just take that moment and just decompress from my phone, from everyone around me, and just take that moment and just be like, okay, I'm gonna read one chapter for myself and be detached from the world. And then also writing. I used to write all of the time, and I got out of the habit of that, but I don't think that there's anything better than just like having a book and it's being empty, and like you just can write whatever you want in it. It's yours, and those are your words and your feelings. I think that that's a super cool outlet and way to kind of just vent your feelings. I also really like to cook. I am not very good at it. I'm not like the best ever, but just also like knowing what I'm putting in my body has really helped. I love to get fresh pressed juices. I love to just try to eat as clean as I can. Other than my sweets, I've gotten into a bad habit of sweets, but sometimes you have to splurge. I have like a planner and I write everything down, and I think that's also a very good and important habit to get into, because when you're writing things down you can visually like see what you're doing with your week and with your time, and you can, you know, make time for other things, and you can help motivate yourself by just writing things down, writing a checklist, a chore list, things you want to get done. Not overwhelming yourself, but just, you know, having something to look at and to refer back to know that you could be spending your time doing something versus nothing. I think that a big problem of myself is that I've been isolated a lot, and I spend a lot of time alone. That's like not a very healthy thing to do, is just to like spend all of your time by yourself. So just kind of like getting out there, reaching out to your friends, making efforts to do things is just, in my opinion, very important. Another thing that I do to help me is I usually wake up in the morning and I start my day with a sermon. I really love watching Judah Smith. He has really honestly changed my life. But just waking up and hearing like a positive message and hearing that, you know, you don't really have to deal with your problems yourself. You can really depend on your higher power. There's been times where I felt suicidal. There's been times where I have just literally been screaming at like God and just like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And just not really like having any direction and just feeling like really lost. And every single time I get to this dark place, I'm able to like get stronger knowing that there is a bigger purpose and there is like a better reason, and like we are not supposed to live our lives being sad and being depressed, and we're supposed to live our lives learning how to be better every single day. So yeah, I hope this depression video wasn't too depressing. Life is not about a quick fix. It's about understanding that you just are gonna get yourself in bad places sometimes, but it's possible to get out, but you have to just like actually like take it one step at a time and like have a plan and do things like and have an action plan. You can't just like sit around and wait for someone to like whip you up and be like, this is where you're supposed to be. Life takes work and effort, and it's tough, and it's especially hard when you're looking on your phone and like everyone just has all of this stuff so easily. Like they didn't have to work this crappy job, they didn't have to do that. Like you really don't know what people are going through. You can't just like look on an Instagram of people's real life. You can't just be like, oh, what kind of crappy things did people go through today? Like, you're not ever gonna see that kind of Instagram. You're always just gonna see good, positive, artistic, this. Like, when that's being spewed at you all the time, you're just like, I can't like comprehend like why I'm feeling bad, why I'm feeling down on myself, because it seems like everybody else is just always great and always happy, but that's just not real. I want to do other videos kind of diving more deep into detail of things that I've gone through in my life, just to maybe like help someone else out. If you have dealt with depression or anxiety, I would love to like hear your story and to kind of like talk to you and like hear if there's things that you do that help you like cope. But I hope that you have a wonderful day and that we can just all be happy.